All right, assignment 5C, talking about another way we can solve quadratic equations, and that is by using the quadratic formula. So, one way, or sorry, not one way, what we're going to do here is your quadratic formula is written here. X equals negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So you're going to have to memorize this if you don't already have it memorized. Make sure you memorize this for quizzes and all that stuff. But a, b, and c come from the fact that we write quadratics in this form. Ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So in order to use the quadratic formula, one side must be 0. Okay, so make sure one side is 0 before you start picking out a, b, and c. All right. So if we go through here, using the quadratic formula, we have ax squared, bx, c. So as we fill these in our formula, we go negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. Okay, so as we go through and simplify, that would turn to a positive 7, 49 minus 40 over 4. So 7 plus or minus square root of 9 over 4. So 7 plus or minus 3 over 4. And this is going to give me two answers. So 7 plus 3 over 4 and 7 minus 3 over 4. There's no square roots here, so we can simplify this. Okay, so this would give me 10 over 4, which is 5 over 2. This would give me 4 over 4, which is 1. So 5 over 2 and 1. Okay? Number 2, same deal, right? We have a, b, c. So x equals negative b plus or minus b squared, square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. Okay, so that would turn to positive 6. That would be 36 minus 16 over 2. So 6 plus or minus the square root of 20 over 2. Okay, now, before, yes, 2 does go into 6, but before you divide anything out, always simplify the radical first. Do not divide anything out of the denominator until you have completely simplified everything. Okay, so simplify this square root first. Okay, so we can simplify the square root of 20 to, 2 square root of 5, right? Square root of 20 we could say is 4 times 5. So 2 square root of 5 over 2, okay? And then to be able to divide out this 2, it has to be able to be divided out of both numbers in the top. Okay, so we're going to divide out this 2, so it goes in there 3 times, in there 1 time. So we would say x equals 3 plus or minus the square root of 5. Okay, so make sure, do not divide anything out of the denominator until the very last step. Okay, always do that last. Simplify the radical first. Okay, so those are your two examples. The only other thing I want to make you aware of is in the last assignment, again, when we talked about completing the square, if we had a negative underneath the square root, that meant it was no real solution, right? So same thing here. If when we fill in the quadratic formula, let's say we have x equals negative b plus or minus, and then we get some sort of negative number underneath there, whatever it is, if we have a negative number underneath that square root, that means this is no real solution. Okay, because again, we can't take the square root of a negative number. So anytime you see a negative number under there, automatically no real solution. Okay, everything else you can work to simplify. All right, so short video. short assignment. If you have any questions, then let me know.